Right now, deep inside your skull, your nucleus basalis is losing neurons silently, permanently. It is the only structure that manufactures the chemical your entire cortex runs on. The neurologists who first mapped it admit they have no way to stop the loss, but high performers have found one rule that interrupts it. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what it is. The chemical is acetylcholine, your attention system, your memory's filing clerk. Every time you focus on something new, acetylcholine floods your cortex and flags it. Remember this. Every time you slip into deep sleep and consolidate what you learned, acetylcholine is the hand pulling the files. Without it, nothing gets filed. It dissolves. Here's what nobody tells you. The decline starts in your late 20s, not your 70s, not when you're old and slow. Right now, if you're past 25, your nucleus basalis, your brain's chemical engineer, is producing less acetylcholine than it did last year. And less than the year before. You can't feel it. That's what makes it dangerous. You just notice that focus feels harder, that names don't stick, that you read the same paragraph twice and still can't say what it said. You blame stress, you blame sleep, but the mechanism runs deeper. And we're getting to how to interrupt it, but first you need to see exactly what is happening inside your skull. Your nucleus basalis sits deep in the base of your forebrain, a dense cluster of neurons no bigger than your thumbnail. Every morning it wakes before you do. It sends long chemical arms up through the cortex, arms that release acetylcholine like a slow, steady rain. That rain is what makes your cortex ready to focus, ready to encode, ready to learn, but those arms degrade. The neurons themselves die one at a time, starting in your late 20s. Each neuron lost is a patch of cortex that stops receiving the signal. A section of your filing system goes offline, not all at once. Gradually, imperceptibly. Think of it like a sprinkler system for your brain. One head fails, then another. The lawn looks fine for a while, then patches go dry, then bigger patches. You don't notice until you're standing in the middle of it, wondering why nothing grows. By the time the dryness is measurable in a clinic, the system has been failing for a decade. The researchers who first tied the nucleus basalis to Alzheimer's, who spent careers trying to restore it, have produced exactly one approved intervention. Acetylcholinesterase inhibitors, drugs that slow the breakdown of acetylcholine once it's released. They do not restore the neurons. They do not rebuild the signaling arms. They slow the drain on what little remains. And they are prescribed only after clinical damage is visible, meaning they reach people who have already lost years of function they will never recover. There is no pharmaceutical you can take in your 30s to prevent this. No supplement with proof behind it. The researchers know what's happening. They admit in their own papers that the prevention window is poorly understood and almost certainly underutilized. The solution, if there is one, is behavioral, and almost nobody is talking about it. Here is where it gets uncomfortable. Because the most popular advice for brain health, the advice in every wellness newsletter, every productivity podcast, is to meditate and slow down. Quiet the mind, reduce stimulation, give your brain rest. But for your nucleus basalis, stillness can be the worst thing you do. Acetylcholine is not released during quiet. It is a chemical of curiosity and urgency. It fires during active, engaged, novel attention. Sit in prolonged silence and your nucleus basalis goes idle. It does not recover, it drifts. And when neurons that don't fire together stop wiring together, you are not protecting your chemical system by giving it less to do. You may be accelerating its silence. The conventional wisdom is backwards. Here is what high performers actually do, and almost none of them can name why it works. They rotate the type of challenge, not the amount of challenge. They don't work harder. They don't rest more. They deliberately change the kind of attention they're using every 90 minutes. This is not a productivity trick. It is a pharmacological trigger. Every time your brain encounters a genuinely novel demand, a new problem type, an unfamiliar skill, a real question it cannot answer from existing memory, your nucleus basalis fires. It releases a pulse of acetylcholine. That pulse resets the cortical rain. It flags incoming information as worth encoding. It keeps the sprinkler heads active. The rule is deliberate novelty injection on a 90-minute rotation. Not passive novelty, not a scroll through social media, which your brain has long cataloged as noise. Active novelty, a problem you have never solved in quite this form. A language drill, a spatial puzzle, a piece of music you cannot predict. The people who maintain exceptional recall into their 70s do this instinctively. They are not resting their brains. They are dosing them, and there is one specific window when this matters more than any other. Tonight, in the 90 minutes before sleep, do not default to passive content. That window is when your nucleus basalis releases its final pulse of the day, the one that tells your hippocampus what to consolidate while you sleep. Give it something genuinely new, a skill you're building, a puzzle, even 15 minutes of active reading in an unfamiliar subject, then sleep. Your consolidation system will have something real to work with, instead of encoding the plot of a series you won't remember by Thursday. But here's what should stay with you. The nucleus basalis is not the only structure doing this. There is another region, one that controls your ability to feel motivated enough to engage with anything at all, and its decline begins even earlier. That one is harder to interrupt,